Welcome to Hey Smiling Strange. This is my podcast, which I'm hoping you're listening to. Otherwise, I'm just talking to the ether. I'm talking to nothing. I'm talking to nobody. But today, I'm specifically talking, obviously, to my co-host, Isabel, who has made time from her busy schedule to come by. Isabel, say hi.
Hi, everyone. Love you guys. Thanks, Kyle. That's all I'm going to say for the whole podcast. That really sounded like the last thing that anyone says on a podcast.
I will say, I really appreciate all the messages everyone, especially our friends, say whenever you're not on the podcast about how much they miss you on the podcast. But it is kind of an insult. It is kind of a like, if you could get the good host back, that'd be good. So today we have we have two special guests. This is the first time I'm getting somebody on the podcast who is not somebody I know directly. We have two members of the band Shallowater, the first band that I've made a video about their one of their songs twice. I made two different videos about Ativan because I've been listening to it literally nonstop for like a week and a half. But we have Tristan and Blake here from Shallowater. Say hi, guys.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Blake from Shallowater. I can't hear Tristan, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he's saying good stuff.
Tristan,
I'm sure it's something.
Muted?
How you doing there, Tristan?
Dude, just like freaking clockwork. It's always right after we start recording, too, that something fucked up happens.
Well, it's fine. We get better at these. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Loud and clear.
Damn.
Yeah, I just got a notification said gonna connect to your iPhone microphone, and
Perfect.
I was like,
You're like,
no, I
maybe
don't want
not.
to do that.
Maybe let's
Then-
not do that.
Yeah, I said no, and then it just turned off my current microphone. Great.
All right.
Well, I'm here now.
Is everything working now? Does it all seem like it's
Yeah.
going okay?
Just
All
turn
right,
my
I'm gonna
phone
do
off.
I'm gonna do the introduction of you two again. We'll start with Blake and then go to Tristan. So, I don't know how to edit things, but see, all right, with us today we have two members of the band Shallowater, which is the band that I've been listening to nonstop for the last week. And a lot of my friends have been telling me they have not been able to stop listening to your album. I've had multiple people tell me it was their favorite album of 2025. But let me introduce you to Blake and Tristan. Say hi, guys. We'll start with Blake. How's it going, man?
Howdy, it's going great. I'm having a great day, and I hope everyone else is.
Can I ask, Blake? Can I ask, like, what the milieu is that you're? You mentioned that you're in a pool hall, which to me is like a very. It's not even just a bar. It's a very specific kind of bar. I would like to know the name of this bar that you're currently in.
Yeah, I'm at Slick Willie's.
Ooh.
I've been sick this past week, and this is my getting well, getting out day. So
That's
so today's a good
awesome.
day.
Congratulations.
Nice. I do enjoy the fact that the first time you can get out of the house, Slick Willie's is on the short list. But
Yeah.
Tristan, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great, man. I'm not at Slick Willie's. I'm just at home.
So life could be better, but it's
It
okay.
could be better. It could be better. It's not as good as Blake, but I haven't been sick for a week. I haven't earned a Slick Willie's visit yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You got to earn it, you know? Where are you guys located? You guys in Texas?
Yeah, we're down here in Houston.
Yeah, we've been here in
nice.
Houston for about 4 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious where you each are originally from, because I do feel like your music is so merged with like my idea of Texas, but that
Tristan-
might not actually be everyone's home.
Tristan and Ryan are from Lubbock. That's where I met them. That's where we became a band at. I'm from a small town north of Amarillo. So
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
So all Texas people. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys moved around at all, or you've always just been in Texas?
I've moved around a little bit. I actually lived in Portland for about a year.
When?
It was like 2018, 2019, and then I lost
Okay.
my job because COVID, and
Wow.
I moved back home. And
It's a real sliding doors moment. We all could have already known each other.
yeah, I
Oh,
know,
yeah,
it's crazy.
man, you could have hung out. Where'd you live in
Yeah,
Portland?
exactly. I lived in like Northwest area, and
Okay.
yeah,
You were across
Well,
the
there's
river,
no way we
basically
would
in a
have ever
different
met.
country. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was I was also just working the night shift at some place downtown, just like unloading trucks, and I just slept all
baby.
day. I had no hobbies at all. It was like the worst time of my life. But Portland's really cool.
Oh
Yeah.
dude, I've worked night shift at a psych hospital before. Every once in a while, we had like rotating shifts, and that night shift work, you always think like it'll be fine, it'll be all right. But like when the first time you wake up, as everyone's having dinner and come home while everyone's having breakfast, you're like, I feel like I'm in a completely different headspace than everybody all the time. It's very alienating and weird.
Yeah, just like complete just vampire mode. I got real acquainted with just different kinds of music, I think, at that point in my life. I just like, you kind of become a different person. You're just like on a different wavelength from everybody you know. And
Yeah. I don't want to make like an unfair generalization, but I do kind of feel like the biggest kind of intense periods of like new music and art discovery for me often do overlap with like a time in my life that's like very bizarre and dark, or where I have like a lot of alone time for maybe reasons that are like I actually would not have chosen, but it can be such a like I don't know, fertile sort of moment too when you have all this random ass time to yourself.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, Blake, you find yourself hanging out alone in the middle of the night listening to new music, or
I do sometimes, kind of the same thing you're talking about, like usually not in good times of my life. But certain bad things happen, you're in a certain headspace, and I don't know, I definitely have, I don't know if found new music, but I've connected with music very strongly in times where it's just like bad things are happening and that song is there and it's pretty cool. Then
Yeah,
you come back at a better time in life and it's still really nice.
yeah, definitely. It almost feels like you're really emulating something out of like a movie. It's like, oh, I feel bad right now. Well, I saw in a movie once. I guess I'm supposed to lay in bed and listen to sad music.
Totally.
yeah, Zach Braff really did a number on a whole generation, didn't he?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I've actually talked about this a lot with my wife, who also like plays a lot of music, listens to a lot of music, but like as we have developed our relationship, we got married, we lived together and stuff like that. Like I went from a guy that spent a lot of time alone, and in that period of time, that's like when I would go and search for new music, to now it's like I'm almost never actually alone. Like I'm sitting on the couch, not doing anything, not talking to anybody, but my wife's on the other side of the couch and we're just hanging out. Like if I have a thought, I'm going to share it with her. And I always wonder how much of my like obsessive music discovery phase when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult, how much of that was driven by like loneliness or just driven by like being a teenager trying to figure out how the world works. Because now it's like I listen to a lot of new music. Obviously, that's how I figured out what you guys have been up to. But like it is not nearly the same level of like almost desperation to find something in the noise. Isabel, what's your experience there? Because you're also, not to break news on podcast here, but getting engaged this summer. Have you found your relationship to music change at all? But you're also dating a musician.
I am. Yeah. I mean, I think that is a really like huge question, maybe in like all kinds of like creativity too, is like the relationship between like mood and art, whether you're like making it or discovering it. I like to push back. I mean, me and Kyle, I think, have talked about this just like in our friendship, but I do like to like push back against the idea, obviously, that you have to be in a bad place or sad to make beautiful stuff or enjoy beautiful stuff. I think that's a really, really damaging idea to perpetuate. But I do think there's something about, well, and this is like going to be so corny, but it's like when you find something or someone in your life that really does make it feel complete, like, yeah, you're not searching as doggedly for like the art that's going to accompany you. But the flip side of that is that my fiance introduces me to new things all the time and things that I never would have found. We have like just enough overlap and just enough different music tastes. We also play music together. Like I think I prefer this mode where I like look for new music when I feel like it and not because I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
And where I'm like enjoying this thing that's so important to me and my partner, and we're enjoying it together and like growing as people within it. I just can't recommend it strongly enough. And I do know a lot of people who are like really buying into another stereotype, which is that you shouldn't be in a band with a partner, and I think that that's stupid also. So those are all of my thoughts. But I'm curious what y'all's, Tristan and Blake's thoughts are.
Yeah. Tristan, what's your thoughts on all that? Have you are you still desperately searching for new music out there in the ether? Have you found that the need has calmed itself a little bit?
I'm absolutely just like ravenously looking for new music all the time. But my like my girlfriend, like me and her, we are just constantly trying to one up each other with
there you go.
What, insane 50 monthly listener on Spotify band we could possibly find. And we're always just making playlists. And it's more of a competition. I think that's what kind of has kept the flame lit for that for me.
Yeah.
In the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
In the nicest way possible. Trying to beat your partner in something is incredibly motivating. We do those the New York Times puzzle games every single day competitively, and the winner always feels good and the loser always feels terrible. So it's good to have that.
Yeah.
Blake, what about you? What's your relationship to finding new music these days?
I grew up in a real small town in a homeschool situation, so, I was very sheltered from a lot of music for a while. So coming out, mostly college age, whenever I met Tristan, he showed me so much cool shit that I'd never heard of. And it was exactly what I wanted to hear. I knew the basics, I found Nirvana, and I thought I was really cool for that back in the day.
You were.
Cool
it's okay.
That.
Oh, thank you. But, so that was a really profound time in my life, finding a lot of the stuff that would go on to, influence me and just generally still be in my life and everything. I don't know. It is a struggle, though, sometimes, because I kind of go between waves of not even wanting to listen to music, but then I hit a pocket where I am ravenous to find something new or go back and rediscover things that I used to listen to. I don't know. I enjoy the most whenever I am actively trying to discover new music, but I like meaning it. If I don't actually feel it, it's hard to force myself, but that's the best place to be.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Oh, you go ahead, Kyle.
No, you go nuts. I'm talking too much already.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you. So generous. I appreciate you being forthright about there being times when it's like, I am not that into music right now. That feels like a very taboo thing to say as a musician sometimes, or like it feels like you shouldn't feel that way, but I think that's actually very, very normal, and I'm kind of curious what that feels like for you.
I don't know, just whenever I've listened to the stuff I've been listening to too much, and you just hit dry pocket after dry pocket on new stuff that you try out, like, this isn't it, and then, I don't know, you just kind of get washed up, and I don't know, you got to take a break for a little bit.
Yeah, it's
come back with a fresh palette.
Yeah, it's like when music becomes like kind of just like background noise. I think that's kind of a time where you need to hang it up for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I always try to find. My thing is like I'll shift in between, like trying to find new music, listening to music, and then just there will be like days or weeks where I'm just like, I'm not gonna listen to any music. I just want to listen to new information, audiobooks, lectures, shit like that. And I always find, like, if I can find some new thought pattern, something wild going on, it helps me rearrange the stuff that I was already listening to. I do want to hear, Blake, you said that Tristan showed you a bunch of new music back when you guys met. I'd love to hear how you guys met, and specifically, like, what was the first thing Tristan showed you where you're like, oh, this guy actually has pretty good taste in music. Shit.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was Tristan put me onto the Velvet Underground.
Let's go.
That was pretty mind blowing. So we met at a house show in Lubbock. There was a house venue. It was called Gypsy House, and that's where all the scene happened in Lubbock. And so I was pretty new to that. I don't know how new Tristan was, but we met there, started hanging out, and then so he showed me Velvet Underground. He showed me a lot of like the early punk rock, like the '80s stuff, whatever's on what's that? The Decline of Western Civilization.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that movie at that time.
Yeah, we watched that. I watched that movie, and that was really, I don't know, punk rock really like the whole energy of it got to me for a long time, and I really enjoyed that, finding that. Of course I'd heard punk rock, but I had never felt motivated to dive in and know very much about it. But, I don't know, it was a very formative time.
Yeah, that movie is formative for so many people. That's
Yeah,
my
that
quick
movie
aside.
is so awesome when you're like 20 years old.
Yeah. That's perfectly described.
Yeah.
It's fun hearing you guys come at this from like a bonding over punk rock, because if you listen to the album that you've made, I always forget the whole name of it. It's God, $1 Million, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it says on my Spotify. God, $1 Million, all that fun stuff. It is like, I mean, I think everything has elements of punk, because like in my brain, punk is the direct connection to the garage rock that is like the core element of American rock and roll music. Is like whatever you would make in your garage, basically within 3 weeks of learning how to play your instrument. That is like the sound you're always cultivating. It's like chasing a dragon to some extent. But you guys don't have a particularly punk aesthetic to it. First off, like, what would you describe your sound as if you want to? I know everyone hates answering that question, but how'd you get from going to punk house shows in Lubbock into making 8-minute long songs? I'm assuming about just the whole experience of the West. I don't really know what you think that song is about, but that's what I feel.
I think it was like what the main thing we wanted to get across was like, what's the thing that only we could do, and like with the experience that we've had and where we're from. And I think so much like like the punk rock, especially in like the Decline of Western Civilization, it's like all that stuff could have only come from LA in the 80s, and like it's not necessarily like we were thinking about that like directly, but like it really was like we wanted to make something that was West Texas. And like West Texas is just like small towns with like, I don't know, a college or something and a Chipotle, and surrounded by oil fields, and it's like a giant liminal space, essentially, is what it feels like. And this we were hanging out with our good buddy Hayden Pedigo a lot during kind of the formation of the band, and one thing that he's always like brought to his music is he wants to like show off the scale of West Texas with his music. And that's like something that we've definitely taken on ourselves. Is just like, how can we make it feel like you're standing in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah,
but
think
also
about
we play really, really loud when we play live. So I think that's like where we keep the punk rock.
Yeah, sure.
I think, in my... Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Pardon me.
All good.
I was just saying, I think that my interest in punk rock later morphed into a big interest in shoegaze, and then that led me further into an interest in like broader, like morphed with country and all that, and therefore the loudness of shoegaze and everything. I think we bring that to the table. That's I don't know. In my mind, there's a line that can be drawn, but that's a personal thing.
Yeah. I think absolutely. I'm also like really interested in the kind of different translations of like space and spaciousness that I hear in y'all's music and in Hayden Pedigo's music. Like There's like literal space that's kind of more like an ambient sensibility, and then there's like the kind of space that shoegaze creates, which is like actually kind of like a more of like a relentlessness, but it's like slow and relentless at the same time, which is so much of what a drive across that part of the country can sometimes feel like. And I think like both of, it's interesting to me how different your music is from Hayden Pedagogues, and still, I mean, you guys have worked together. It's like different translations of the same idea of space and scale. It's very, very cool to me. And I think it works super well with the idea of shoegaze.
See, he's from Amarillo and we're from Lubbock.
Yeah, right. Is there like a rivalry there?
Wildly different.
Are you guys beefing?
I think there used to be that guy that made the Cadillac Ranch. He was always talking shit on Amarillo. I mean, talking shit on Lubbock.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Terry Allen. Yeah, you didn't like him either.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wish I knew who these people were, but because I want to pick sides. I love when like little towns fight each other. It's like I always pick a side. No fence sitters, you know. You're either
you're
Lubbock
Team
or
Lubbock.
Amarillo.
Yeah, you're on our
I'm Team Lubbock.
Yeah.
Oh
I
hell!
think
I mean, I don't know. It
we're-
depends on how good this podcast
joined
go.
the team.
I'm a free agent. I think the first
pressure.
video I made on your song "Out of Van," because I made 2 of them. But the first one I talked about, it's like the experience of listening to that song is like when you are driving through the flat plains of America and you can see a thunderstorm out in the distance and you just see the spark way out and you know that's coming. You know that noise is going to come. The wind, the rain might mess some shit up. That is like, I'm glad to hear you guys say that because that was what I was picking up on when I heard this. I always think of like, you know, what am I doing with these reels is I'm kind of just trying to uncover this theory I have of like America is a civilization that is coming into itself, right? It's very young, it's very new. It's kind of discovering what it means to be America is all America has been about for the last 300 years. And like I think that the certain areas are kind of well tread. I think New York City, there's not really that much more to say, but like Lubbock, Texas is still the West. It still maintains this cultural DNA of like that's in the spaghetti Western movies where you watch those movies. I remember thinking like the biggest thing that I walked away from is like how much of those movies are just people standing, not saying anything, and letting time pass. And I was like, there's some relationship between the West and time. Do you guys feel that? Do you like my idea of this American civilization coming into its own? Am I being
think that's
too
very
pretentious
apt.
for the internet?
Do you guys like me?
Do you like me? Am I cool? Am I?
Yeah, I would definitely agree, especially like on the spaghetti Western like side of it. You know, like it just feels like everybody in those movies is just sitting there waiting for something to happen, and it's like always just about like 3 guys that are making something happen. And
Another thing you touched on, the storm. Yeah, I think a lot of our songs it's kind of corny, but we take a lot of inspiration from the haboobs that happen in Lubbock. You know, it's just this mountain of dirt that's coming. You know, it actually looks like a mountain, and you know,
Pardon
then
my ignorance.
before it
What
hits
is
the
what is that?
Sorry,
What's
yeah,
a
say that
haboob?
word again?
see
A haboob?
the Dust Bowl.
Yeah, it's like a dirt
dirt storm.
God.
So it's just whenever it's a really windy day and everyone's been plowing up their fields, like that can happen where it's just so much massive amounts of dirt are in the air and they're coming towards you. It builds up dirt drifts, like snow drifts. They run the snow plows on the roads just for dirt.
yeah.
I love the
So
phrase.
nuts.
They run the snow plows on the roads for dirt. I feel like that is something. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's a uniquely American visual, right? That
Mhm.
doesn't
gotta
exist
put
anywhere
that
else.
in a
Let's
song.
go.
Yeah. It happens in West Texas, it happens in some places in Arizona, and it happens in Africa, and that's it. Where the giant mountains of just like loose topsoil get picked up and they just move across the whole landscape, and then it just takes over the town, and you can't drive in it. Like it looks like Mars. You can see like 5 feet ahead of you. Everyone just has to stop, put their hazards on, and pull over.
That's how big. That's how big America is that there's like entire weather phenomena that like I've never even heard of.
I know.
And on like the day after, it's always like so pretty because all this dirt is up in the air and it makes like the clouds and the sky just like golden. It's the weirdest thing. Like it'll be like that for hours. It's not like a sunset thing. And yeah, like there's this wild photo I took of when all the clouds were gold and the sky was gold and there was a tornado forming over our house. And I just took a picture of it, and that's our lyric sheet. We put our lyrics on that for our first record.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a weird place to grow up in for sure.
I feel so. I've lived up in the Northeast, and I live up in the Pacific Northwest or whatever. And the relationship that like indie rock, the vague term of indie or alternative rock. It's always been kind of tied to this kind of coastal idea in my head. It's sort of suburban outside of a city, and it feels like in the last couple of years there's been this kind of reconciliation with indie alternative rock and country music to some extent. And I think a lot of it is just like what you're talking about right now, just talking about a weather phenomena in your town. It's like sparking my imagination. I'm like, that sounds cool. That's why I didn't even know that was a thing. And, going back to how we started talking about finding new music, like, you want to have that spark. It doesn't want to have to feel like work to find something new. You want something to really, like, grab you and then take hold of you and run you around town all week, like, having its way with your thought patterns and whatever. Do you guys feel, having been in Texas, do you feel what I'm feeling here with this idea that like there's this reconciliation of country and indie rock, or has that always been the case in Lubbock and we're just catching up to you guys?
Definitely not. I don't know of anyone else from Lubbock doing what we're doing. Like I don't know. I think it's like the internet kind of spoiled a lot of these small towns where they just want to emulate big cities. So it's like it kind of takes someone to kind of like look back on things like Songs Ohio and Drive By Truckers and some like Sun Kill Moon stuff. And I feel like it's more terminally online people coming up with this stuff than like true like small town living people.
Yeah, I think the internet is a big reason for it because you can listen to everything. So you can have people that listen to indie and country, and that probably didn't happen much back in the day. Not that it never happened. There's bands that have done similar things like Uncle Tupelo, and I don't know. That you can name a bunch of examples, but I think it's definitely happening now because everybody likes everything now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also this game of like people get into MJ Linderman. And then they want to seem cooler than the next guy that's in MJ Linderman, so they're going to go find Uncle Tupelo, and they're going to pretend to like Uncle Tupelo.
Hey now.
Oh, yeah.
I like some songs.
Yeah,
I
mean,
Uncle
totally.
Tupelo.
I think it's important to make the point that it's not like it's not like the current like indie plus country thing is something that's never been done before. It's actually been done quite a lot in ways that were very popular at the time. Like alt country was an entire fucking thing, and Jeff Tweedy is still just riding that wave. Getting those checks, like, and I am not mad about it, but yeah, it's like this actually is already just like riding on the coattails of a thing that already existed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything always is, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, totally. Yeah,
I kind of go on this idea that it's like, as I get older and weirder, I kind of view it as like when something new happens, you're not creating something new. You are uncovering something that was already there and giving it a form that it previously hadn't had. Like when you guys talk about your inspiration from the West, the way I look at it is like you have this cultural DNA of living in West Texas, and that seeps into your being. You're part of that soil and all that stuff. And then the internet comes along and kind of bombards you from the outside with all these different tools that people have used to craft different versions of indie rock and different sounds and stuff like that. And you guys acting almost as an antenna take from this bombardment something that helps craft the feeling of where you live right now, this unique human experience of being an American in West Texas in, you know, the 2020s or whatever. And so it's like that was already there. The feeling was there. All of the ingredients were there. It just took somebody to give it some form. So it's almost like you're not even, you know, I guess I'm discrediting you entirely. You guys aren't even making anything. You're just uncovering it. No, but like, I don't know. That's kind of what I think about.
I mean, yeah, every time you have like an awesome idea or, you know, some great thing that you just discovered, you kind of always think like, why didn't anyone else think of this? You know, like, yeah, I think it's just noticing that of like all the ingredients are here. I guess you just gotta, you know, like put it all together and someone's gonna do it, you know?
Okay, I am gonna use that as a segue. Speaking of ingredients, putting ingredients together. Do
we have a sponsorship?
I'm curious about yeah, with like a dip company. Yeah, with like a ranch, with like a seasoning packet company that you mix with other things. That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
Let's work on this together, guys. I think we can come up with some
yeah.
good. No, I'm kidding.
I'll make some calls.
We could make some seasonings. I mean, sure we could. I wanted to ask you guys about Houston because I am actually the ingredients that I'm kind of thinking about that Beyonce, Houston person, was certainly thinking about was like hip hop plus country, which has also, you know, like whatever, Shabuzi, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That ingredient combination is happening now too. And that makes me curious, like what kind of place your music is finding in Houston, which is a city that I, at this moment, mostly associate with hip hop. Like, isn't Megan Thee Stallion from Houston? Yeah. There's other people I feel like I'm forgetting, but yeah, what's Houston like musically, like right now?
Yeah.
I mean, when we first moved here, you know, it was kind of the first opportunity we ever had to go see shows like on a regular basis. You know, like even Amarillo got more shows than Lubbock because it's like on the main highway. Lubbock is not. So, you know, we like going to like a local punk venue was kind of like a new thing for us. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the music that is like happening locally is a lot of hardcore out here, a lot of shoegaze. That's, you know, that's like every venue you walk in any night, you're going to see a hardcore band or a shoegaze band. And when we first moved out here, it took us about 6 months to get our first show. And
wow.
And yeah, it was there's not a lot of people moving here, you know. It's everyone goes to Austin. So
yeah.
The music scene is more like homegrown out here, I'd say. Like all these bands kind of went to high school together, you know. All these guys went to high school together. And so when you have just like 3 dudes moving here from somewhere else and they're trying to get in on the scene, it's kind of like who are y'all? You know, it was kind of strange. But I mean, once we got a show, you know, for the first time, you know, people started showing up and it was easier. But in all honesty, I'm really not sure how people kind of perceive us out here. Like it's I don't know. We don't really play out here that often anymore. Just because of, I mean, there's lots of reasons, but you know,
I'd say the main reason is it's kind of, for a city this big, it's pretty short on venues that are like mid-size that will pay. You know, there's a lot of DIY venues that are really cool, grateful for those, but you know, at a certain point, you know, I don't want to practice a whole bunch just to play a show for no money. And then the alternative is there's huge venues that you don't really have that much of a shot at playing often, and they're all Live Nation, you know, so that's another downer. So it's just kind of a sorry situation for, you know, mid-sized venues where, you know, touring bands want to come through and make some good money. And then for us as locals, you know, there's not much opportunity for us to make enough to justify,
Yeah.
you know, taking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a really not to invalidate the Houston specific experience of this, but that's a problem in so many cities right now.
I imagine so, yeah.
It's truly just like a wealth disparity. It's truly just a late capitalism thing. There's like tiny venues and huge venues. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that same change has happened in Portland. I feel like the last 5-10 years is like mid-size and small, but a lot of mid-size venues are maybe struggling the most, actually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it really is unfortunate because you know sometimes you know you kind of get paid the same amount of money to go play the 50 cap venue and the 500 cap venue. You know, it's weird. And you know, Houston gets skipped over a lot, so there's not even that many opportunities to just do like a local opening kind of situation. You know, someone coming through and we hop on a bill. That doesn't really happen that much.
Yeah.
Like maybe like twice a year at this point. But we go to Austin a lot because you know Austin is just you know you walk down any street, there's like 5 mid-sized venues. And there's great booking companies out there, and yeah, I mean we have to drive 3 hours to go play like a show that I think like would be like I don't know like good for us to play, or like play a venue that like we could pack, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a sad situation.
Do you guys
yeah.
do you guys see this as being somewhat of an insurmountable problem with y'all in Lubbock? Or do you think you know the pressure is going to move you into Austin, or are you guys just going to end up hoping to get on the road more? Like, because it does, like as Isabel was saying, this is a problem in a lot of different places. Some bands are figuring out ways to do it. I'm wondering where y'all's heads at in terms of like, hey, do we have to pack it up and move to Austin, or do we just have to buy a tour van and just tour until the wheels come off?
We have a van now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying
let's
to get on
go.
the road. I love living in Houston. Houston's a great city. And it's so much more affordable than Austin.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know,
I did not
think
know
it would
that.
be
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Philly of Texas is kind of how I see it.
Okay.
Let's go.
for where
And
we're at.
Austin,
Weirdly
it would
enough,
New
that's
York
like-
City of
Yeah.
Texas.
That's like the 5th episode in a row where somebody's just inadvertently shouted out Philly. So good job, Philly. You're making a mark somewhere.
We love you, Philly.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean, it just right now where we're at, like I don't think we would have been able to do the things we've been able to do if we weren't in a major city and didn't have affordable rent. You know, like our rent payments are incredibly cheap, and we also, even though Houston's like a little lacking compared to, you know, something like Austin, it's still a major city. There's still like 4 million people that live here. You know, there are opportunities.
Texas is a country,
So
man.
many people. Like,
So
I mean, and that's why I'm really shocked to hear that the rent is cheap, because it really does feel like that level. I guess I don't know how dense it is, but it does feel like that level of population in any other city would be indicative of like a lot of people live here and want to live here, and we're going to make the rent insane, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's so spread out. It's so
Yeah.
spread out. I mean,
Right.
it's just suburbs surrounding a city. We found out like the inner city of Houston, it only has 300,000 people. So you have
Gotcha. Right.
3.7 million that are just spread out over however many miles surrounding it, and all of them just travel an hour in every day to go to work. It's insane.
that is
it's a weird.
that's a weird thing. It's a weird thing I've noticed with a lot of American cities is like, and honestly, a lot of it comes like at a certain point. Most of these cities have been built up post the invention of the car or whatever. But it's like the East Coast. Whenever they talk about cities or transportation, they're always just talking about East Coast cities. They can't really imagine. But the rest of the country, even like L.A., the actual downtown, you know, skyscraper part of the city tends to have literally zero culture. It has the least amount of people that actually live there. and the rest of the city is all these pockets that kind of surround this essentially black hole of humanity, I guess. I don't know. That's how I would describe LA's downtown. It's just like it's a black hole of anything that you would consider to be human. And then the rest of it around it is actually pretty cool. It just orbits this thing. But like, the opposite is you look at East Coast cities, they tend to have like a city center and everything kind of stretches out from there. That I think is it's one of those weird demarcations of like what makes something East Coast, what makes something West, what makes something Mountain West or whatever. I'm sure there's other differentiations here, but you guys coming out to the West Coast anytime soon?
Dude, we're really trying. Like, it seems like we're just always getting asked to go out to the East Coast, and at this point, we like, it's like not. It's like it is up to us. We do have free will. We can just get in the van and go anywhere. But the people that keep asking us back are always on the East Coast. I'm tired of these.
The way the coins flipped.
Yeah.
Is that where most of, do you have like numbers about who and where most of your audience is? Because it sounds like it might not even be like majority Texas.
On Spotify, we're able to see, and I think it's Brooklyn and Chicago. So
yeah, it's like Brooklyn is like number 2, New York is number 3, and those are just the same thing,
Yep.
So, and then it goes, but our number 1 is London, which is the weirdest thing.
Cool. What?
That's odd.
Have you played over there?
We're going to the UK in September for the
That's
first.
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. How do you guys go about booking these things? You guys get an agent, or you just DIY book it? What's the vibe?
We just got on a new agency at the beginning of this year, and yeah, it's incredible. Not having it anymore. It's just the best. But yeah, like, I mean, also I would have no idea how to book some of these places, that we get to go to, and
right.
And just having access to like, hey, this tour is going to happen in 6 months, and it's like if you're just a band trying to book stuff or like get an opening slot, you're never going to know, like these agents, it's their whole job, and they all just talk to each other. And we
did a little DIY tour to the West Coast. I don't know, maybe a couple years ago, and it didn't go well. It's tough to try to book stuff yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, West Coast is also just like it's hard to get places.
Yeah,
everything's so far away.
Yeah, and one thing about like being a Texas band, you kind of get stuck in the trap of Dallas, Austin, Houston, just over and over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And bands will ask like, "Oh, do you want to be on the Texas leg of the tour?" And it's 3 shows over like 5 days because it's how long it takes to get everywhere.
Sure.
And and then I think like the next band on the next leg of the tour is doing like 10 dates.
Yeah.
You just need someone to cover the Texas leg of it.
Man, that East Coast thing I always think about must just be wild, having all those. We've done a couple of East Coast tours, all DIY stuff, and it's just like, oh, you only drive like 2 hours to the next venue. That's crazy. Out here, Isabel and I have we gone on a couple tours together out here on the West, or just that one?
Yeah, I think 2.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's like 2. But they're all been like DIY stuff, and everyone always says kind of the same thing. It's like the first DIY tour you go on is almost exclusively just to make contacts for the second DIY tour that you go on. But like as you start knowing more people who start knowing more people and stuff like that, it gets a little bit easier over time. But it's not the same as like you got an agent just making that phone call for you. The luxury, y'all. The luxury. That sounds fantastic.
It's beautiful. I'm really happy for you guys.
We're so happy for you guys, right?
Yeah, wow, must be nice. Okay, can I make a super left turn artistic process question?
Yeah.
I would really love to know how you guys write, and in particular how you arrange your songs, because they have such kind of like they're almost like suites or something. They have like so many kind of like movements a lot of the time. It just makes me really curious what your process is like and who does what, and yeah.
take that one, Tristan.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. Oh, wow. Um, well, really, it's really like a big mix of things. I think like all the movements that we have in their songs, I think really come from us all being extremely neurotic, and and which is a really hard thing to be when you're in a slowcore band. It's
Yeah.
like, man, like I'm gonna play this one riff for 5 minutes. Are people gonna like it? Like, and usually our answer is no, and that just causes us to just like, okay, well, that's enough of that. Let's move on to the next thing. And I don't know, we never really. It's really rare in one of our songs where we do like a I don't know, like a chorus or even just a repeated part. And
Yeah.
I think that stems from this, just like the same thing of just like we want it to be, if we're gonna make an 8 minute long track, we want it to be like interesting enough for you to hang out that whole time. And
Yeah.
I think we've hit the mark a few times. There's still some stuff we're trying to work out. But in terms of like what we all do, it's really, it's a really just like it's a three-way split completely. Like, even if it's like a song that Blake has written like completely, like, me and him will both sit down and work out the lyrics. I'll just go through my notes app and we'll just start picking things out and just building on that. Or I'll have a complete bass line written up and we just need a guitar part. Or in the case of Ativan and Untitled Cowboy, Blake just showed up to practice and it was just done. Like, there was like nothing else that needed tweaked at all. It just
Yeah.
was the way it was.
I'd also say with a lot of these songs, there's a lot of yes anding for a lot of the different movements. We have one riff that we've been sitting on for a while, and then either I or Tristan, depending on who had the original one, will come in and be like, yes, and this, and then yes, and this, and then sometimes we get a big bloated piece, and then we got to cut down from there. But it's really exciting to build a massive behemoth and then make it a real song.
Yeah, a
That's
lot of these
so cool.
9 minute long songs were originally probably like 12 minutes or 12 or
Yeah.
15, and just cutting them down, piece by piece. And it's weird when like a song like Ativan is kind of like that's the bare bones of it. It's still that long. But yeah, I mean, it's and also, we use lots of like odd time signatures in
Yeah.
in the songs, and that's like I'm just not very good at writing 4/4 stuff all the time, and because I just can't count it. um
Well, you
and
also have to count to write a not 4/4. I hate to break that
I,
to you.
I'm not. I'm just like, yeah. Like I'll be trying to show them like a riff, and I'll like mess it up, and I'm like, well, I'm committed to that now, and
Sure.
and
The drummer
I
counts
meant
for
to
us.
do that, and yeah, and then our drummer will just say, oh, that's in 7. Oh, that's like 14, and
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, it's nice that we're not like a math rock band, and we've always like tried
Yeah.
to hide like the weirdness of the signatures, where like
It's very not front. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like the beginning of Sadie is like a really strange, like, I don't know, like it's just it took us forever to like really get down how to play it. But I think if you're just listening to the song, like for a second listen, you're probably not even going to notice,
Yeah.
which
Yeah. Right.
I like it.
On that there, because it's like I feel like I'm getting a sense of what you guys consider to be sort of essential when you're writing a song. But like, what do you think is kind of the rudder when you're writing it? Is it just a vibe? Is it a feeling? Is it an idea that you're trying to get out? Is it a chord progression? Like, what is the thing where you're like, hey, we're gonna make this song. This is the whenever we come to a point where we have to make a decision, this is kind of what our lodestone's going to be on how to make that decision.
I think,
Oh,
yeah, Blake, you want to take this?
oh, no. So I think that we for a lot of them I like certain riffs, and I think Tristan works the same on a lot of songs. So we have a lot of riffs, and of course a vibe and a feeling that we want to convey throughout the song. Um, then we have to put that there, and it's a lot of building really quick and then subtracting. So we're in the process of writing right now, and one of the new songs we've been working on. Last night actually we had this previous version that we had built up so many parts, so many moving parts, and then we realized, like, oh shit, we just gotta like make this a 3-part song, instead of the 8-part song it was. And so it's I don't know, I think the vibe is an initial idea, but then once you have the full picture, then you can figure out where the strong points are and what the vibe of the song actually is, as opposed to where you initially saw it going.
Yeah,
So I think that's how it goes a lot.
in a band where everyone has equal amounts creative control, the initial idea you always have is never what it ends up being. And
Totally.
I think that's like always a plus, because I mean there's so many things like if it had just been up to me, it would have been awful. It would have been terrible. But having two of my best friends with me tell me like, nah, dude, you're tripping. Like that helped, like so much.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a big thing that we all do for each other is a lot of reining each other in, which
Mhm.
which is good because that allows for us to really just shoot for the moon on everything, because we know that if it sucks, then it's not gonna get past the
Someone will
other
say
two.
something.
Right.
So
Yeah, that feels very, I mean, the process you're describing feels very compatible with the kind of music that you end up with too, which is like it would be a lot harder to write in a three-way collaboration if you were doing like an A B C B song structure, because there's already rules. Like there's already a thing that you're like, okay, this is what we're gonna end up with. And it does really minimize the amount of discovery that you can kind of collaborate on to write in a traditional song structure or even a traditional time signature. And it's very cool to hear you describe something that I do end up hearing in the final versions of your songs too.
Yeah, I also like. I feel like slowcore. Somebody who's played in a couple of slowcore bands here and there. I think it does a good job of kind of making you focus on what is essential about the song, because if you start including anything other than the absolute bare necessities, it becomes a different genre of music very quickly. And having that, I liked the way you talked about reining in, where it's like, oh, you actually get to be more creative and more like ambitious if you all know at the end of the day we're only going to get down to what the essential aspect of it is. So it's like you get to throw as much stuff out there as possible and then edit it back down into what you want. So it's actually the more stuff you can throw out, the more essentially like material you'll have to find what the essence of that song is going to be. And then I feel like you guys just do a really good job of that. It's fun to hear it as a collaborative process, because I feel like that makes more sense than what I had in my head, which is like, does one of these guys just think of this whole 8-minute song and then make it happen?
That would be nuts. Yeah.
How insane is this guy? But that sounds much, that's cool. I like to hear that from y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also, we kind of have the philosophy of like spend months on the instrumentals and spend a week on the lyrics.
Oh yeah, that was Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. always said the last thing he would do was just write lyrics, and he didn't care that much about them. I
didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I've always loved his definition of songwriting. He called it fishing. He'd sit down with a guitar, mess around on a guitar, and you catch something, you reel it in. But it was always like guitar focus. But like him, I think you guys also do a good job, even if the lyrics aren't like the focus of it. When the lyrics become clear in the song, they fit very well. They're very much like an additive thing. It's not like, oh, this is this great instrumental song where this guy just says a couple of random words. Like, it colors everything in a really interesting way. And again, it's why I I can't stop thinking of not just the West, but like Western movies, like the pacing, the dialogue, all the stuff, the characters you guys can pull out of nothing. It's very authentic. It's very cool. I like it a lot.
You know, there's you know, there's that certain genre of Western movie that's none of them are really like very similar. They're like anti-Westerns, you know, like I don't know, No Country for Old Men.
Yep.
Paris, Texas, even. You know?
I love that movie.
And I've always kind of related to those kind of stories a little bit more. I think besides like you know, like I think like West Texas like main like cultural export is kind of like that myth of the West of like cowboys, leather vest on a horse. They're really cool. Oil is awesome. Cotton, you know, just that kind of stuff. But that's never really been what it is for us. You know, I don't think it really is what it is for anybody living in, you know, Abilene, Texas.
Yeah.
You know, and it really is like Lubbock is. They call it the hub city, and you know, there's just all these little satellite cities, like little towns, you know, of a couple hundred to a couple thousand people living in them, and they're all just, you know, look like war torn, you know, this is oil workers live there because that's where the work is, you know, meth towns. That's all it is, and it's like I want to kind of give that, like, you know, the West Texas that is more of like I mean, it's still like mythological, and you know, it's still a fantasy, you know, to some extent because we're making art of it.
But it's only when it becomes real that it actually like becomes real. You know, it's like that. Those are the Western movies I like. Is, you know, some guy goes out to the West to go be a cowboy, and he's confronted. It's always the same thing. They're confronted with eternity. They're confronted with the space and the time and the indifference of it all. You know, this landscape is indifferent. And when you're talking about like all these spoke towns that are all decrepit, you know, I read something a while back that I really loved that was just making the argument is like everyone's waiting for the apocalypse to happen in America, but the apocalypse already happened. This is the post-apocalypse. We're living in it. And you wander through those towns, you wander through Appalachia, you wander through the Rust Belt. You see a town, you see remnants of a once great society now being held together by whoever's forced to live there. And it's like, I feel like, you know, I don't know. I think that's something that we might all look back on at some point and be like, yeah, it was already over before it even started, you know?
I'm actually like really interested in this prefix you just used, Kyle, called post. I'm like, this, I
no, it's post-apocalyptic, man.
Post, I feel like maybe people do use the term post-country, but I'm kind of like, that's an accurate genre descriptor for, I think, a lot of music that exists now. It's like post-modern country. We know what post-punk is, we know what post-rock is. I do think there's it's like a dark, like a bombed out kind of like version of country music that I think a lot of people are interested in right now, because we do live in kind of like a post-apocalyptic America in many, many ways. Yeah.
You know, it is nothing to do with it, but you know, one of the little towns out there, where actually the guy who makes all of our art is called Post, Texas.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, dude, I love little ironies like that. I used to grow up and be like, yeah, it's just coincidental. Now the older I get, the more I'm like, someone's trying to say something to me right now. And it's like the town of Post, Texas. Because that's like, I can kind of hear it in how you're describing where you lived. I hear it definitely in your music. But it's like the real truth of the West, right, is that the people came, the people left, and it's still the West. Like, it's still there. That was always what they were learning. They were always learning, like, the indifference of the landscape to the people is far more powerful than the will of these, like, I think that's why you always see these, like, oil baron people as, like, contrasted with the landscape. It's because these are the people that think, oh, my will bring glory to me and to this landscape. I will tame this country, and the country just goes, you're nothing. It's like a flea.
You know,
You're gonna die. Yeah.
Post is actually a great town example of that because Post was started by the guy that started Post cereal.
Oh, let's
He
go.
founded that town. So then the Dust Bowl happened, and you know, he thought he could throw a bunch of money at it. He started flying kites into the air with dynamite on them to cause rain.
I love this country, man. I really do. I love it just in my
And-
bones.
It didn't work.
No.
And he killed himself.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a story, man. That's a story. I'm always looking for people who I'm like, that person lived a uniquely American life. Like somebody described Michael Jackson once as like the most uniquely American life ever lived. Couldn't exist anywhere else. And when you talk about like Post, there's a town in New Mexico. When I was moving out here, I lived in my car for a little bit. It was called Truth and Consequences, New Mexico. And I drove there because I thought it'd be cowboys, right? It was a radio game show from the 1950s. Was like, if you rename your town to Truth and Consequences, we'll come and make a radio show. And that's like same thing with Post. It's like you would assume Post, Texas, is a town talking about like where you put a horse. You post up the horse. Nope, it's the cereal company, man. He flew dynamite kites.
All Post is now is just it's a whole bunch of fake oil derricks that you can look at as you drive through it, and like 8 gas stations. All right next to each other, and that's the only place you can work other than the oil field.
The land wins, man. The West always wins.
Yeah.
It's
Listen,
and that's and our one of our best friends, Chapa, he moved down here with us down to Houston, and he makes all of our art. He worked at the only restaurant in Post, and he would just draw all day. And whenever I was in high school, I knew that I could get out of Lubbock and go to Post, Texas, and my friend's family would give me beer. So that's how I met Chapa. He was like 15, and he was the only other guy I knew that had a Tumblr. I was like, we're going to be friends. And here we are now.
God,
That's awesome.
man.
That makes me really want to ask how old you guys are, but I'm aware that this is a rude and bad question.
We don't ask about people's ages because I don't want to have to say mine.
Oh yeah, because then Kyle would have to say it.
I'm fine with.
I'm 29.
That's fine. Okay.
I'm 28.
I can live with
Okay,
that.
we're all pretty much exactly the same age.
Yes,
except for Kyle is 47. Just kidding.
No, I'm not correcting you. I want them to guess. As far as anyone's concerned, all of a sudden the last 3 months I went from nobody to that unk on the internet who talks about music. So I'm fine with it.
I actually feel like it would be you would lose more street cred if people found out how young you are.
Oh, I'm young in heart. I'm young in spirit, baby. I want to go fly kites with dynamite. I
You're
really
still
can't get
big
that.
bro.
Yeah.
You're not unk. You're big bro.
Unfortunately, I do have 2 nephews and a niece, so technically I'm as unk as it gets.
Yeah, my bad.
I know.
I've had a nephew since I was 6.
Let's go.
That's crazy.
That's
The
wild,
original
man.
unk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that unk energy. I can tell. I can tell.
It's a good one. I actually feel like it's quite a glow up for people to become aunts and uncles.
Oh, it's a vibe.
Yeah.
It's
I sucked.
awesome.
I sucked whenever I was 5. I didn't have any direction in my life.
Yeah.
No one was looking up to me.
Freeloading.
Yeah.
It's so awesome to be making music in your late 20s and like early 30s. I just feel like you just get things done so much faster.
Yeah.
Aging is awesome. It's so underrated,
It's
dude.
so sick.
Yeah.
I remember I tell people all the time, it's like I felt like 28, 29, I was like, man, oh my God, I got to finish up all these things I want to do. I got to make like a good record before I'm 30. Then I turned 30 and I was like, I got 10 more years for all that crap. I got 10 full years before I'm going to worry about that shit again.
Yeah,
I really
totally.
don't think anyone makes anything like long lasting or like, no one's at the top of their game when they're 23.
Yeah.
No.
It's just, that's a whole conversation I've been thinking about a lot because I'm making some Modest Mouse videos and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't think their music is necessarily better when they're younger, but there is something inherently young and youthful about rock and roll that like, again, most of the bands I listen to, the stuff they make, they're not making it when they're like 17, 18, 19, but every once in a while there's a band that's like, they capture what being like 19 is. in a way that transcends like time and space or something like that. So there's an element to it. You know, I think that's the beauty. This is why I can make these podcasts about music. It's all alchemy, man. It's all alchemy. Nobody really knows how you turn the coal into a diamond, or coal into a diamond. They know that one. Coal into gold or whatever. No one really knows what the magic is. But like every time you think you figured it out, you kind of uncover something new. You're like, well, actually, I didn't account for this thing, and you know, that's that to me. That's the optimism, because I love trying to figure shit out, and I want to try to figure all this shit out until I die, man. I would be so bored if I thought I knew what was going on. That'd be awful. So,
Heck yeah.
On that little rant by myself, I try to keep this to about an hour. I love all your music, guys. Thank you so much for this conversation. Do you want to plug anything?
Hey, real quick before we plug anything, I wanted to ask you. I saw your video about dancing in the club. You were in the casino.
Yes.
Did you win?
The question on everyone's mind.
Listen, every once in a while, a staunch investment portfolio requires a deposit, like a down payment early on, in order to seek returns in the future. So I may have, what's it called? I may have made a sizable contribution to what should be a healthy return on investment in a couple of months.
Heck yeah.
I loved that one. I was like, you know what? It's an expensive video to make, but I'm going to make this video. Maybe it'll get me some likes, get me some follows. And, yeah, I went with, you know, a couple of friends around here. We like to go to the casino every couple of months or something like that. Lose a little bit of money, win a little bit of money, have a good night. We're trying to find shit to do that isn't just going to indie rock shows. And unfortunately, the best decision we had was like, let's gamble.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, we talked so much last time about how cool it was for you to be in an airport, because it was like the most postmodern liminal space possible. And then I was like, no, the casino is definitely the most postmodern liminal space possible. So good job on that.
Oh, but yeah, you guys got any plugs? What's coming up for y'all?
We're gonna be at South by Southwest from the 13th through the 18th. We should have a flyer soon, but
Nice.
like with everything South by, it's all last minute.
Yeah.
But we'll be out there for a week. I don't know if we're even able to talk about some of the other stuff we have coming up. It's not
That's
out yet.
awesome, though.
Big
I mean,
things
that's
coming.
good, right?
Yeah,
watch
big
this
things
space.
soon.
Where can they follow y'all?
Shallowater.band on Instagram, and then, you know, just Shallowater on Bandcamp. We have new variants of $1 Million up on Bandcamp for the first
Yeah,
time.
the vinyl,
Nice.
Yeah.
Coke bottle clear.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're now going to be, you know, there's going to be actual distribution. So people from around the world next couple months should be able to buy them. And we won't have on our Bandcamp charging $400 for shipping to Australia to keep people from buying it. Very soon.
No, you got to keep it up there. You got to keep the Australians like in a cultural desert. New Zealand's fine. Like they can get it to New Zealand, but not Australia. You know,
Yeah,
let them know. Listen, Isabel, anything you want to say to them before we head out?
Your guys' music rocks. It's a real pleasure to get to talk to you about it. So thank
you so much. Yeah,
There's a whole lot.
fun.
And yeah, thanks again. You guys are down in South by Southwest. Go say hi to the band 40 Feet Tall if you get a chance to see them. They're buddies of ours.
Really sweet guys.
I'll say howdy.
Yeah, say howdy. Say you talked to Kyle from Smiling Strange. Just say he was kind of weird. That'll make me happy. Yeah, like he was off-putting. I didn't like it. So
Yeah, no, they're good.
yeah. Oh, you hang out with them? That's kind of weird, man. All right. Thanks again, guys. I'm gonna. I think that's. I don't know how to end these things. I just say podcast until I click stop. So
yeah.
podcast.
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 1, 2,
Goodbye.
3.
Podcast.
Podcast.
Podcast.